Good evening and welcome to the Village Board meeting for the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Monday, March 27. If you're watching live on Monday, March 27, we encourage you to call in if you have comments or questions. Our call-in number is 769-1677. As always, you can watch us live on Verizon or Cablevision Cable TV and at pctv76.org. And within a few days, pick up an on-demand webcast of this and past board meetings at pctv76.org. Our next scheduled meeting is the annual organizational meeting, slightly different schedule from usual. That is next Monday, April 3 at 7 p.m., not 8. That is the meeting when we say goodbye to Trustee Mindy Berard, 9 years of service. Plenty to be said about that on the evening of April 3rd. And we will swear in Trustee Steve Lord for a second term, and our new trustee, Nicole Asquith, here in the audience, and next week sitting up here in the harness. So that is Monday, April 3 at 7 p.m. We then 2 days later have a public hearing on the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. That is Wednesday, April 5 at 8 p.m. So these things sort of collided and required a change in the schedule. So organization meeting next week, Monday, April 3 at 7. 2 days later, public hearing on the budget, Wednesday, April 5 at 8 p.m. So we have a bunch of announcements and resolutions tonight, but the main event tonight is the happy occasion to promote Erik Birwa, a son of Pleasantville, to the rank of sergeant in the Pleasantville Police Department. As those of you who watch often are aware, Erik Grutzner has been promoted to chief and has served ably in that role. That created an opening in the lieutenant's ranks, and just last meeting we promoted John Listwan from the rank of sergeant to lieutenant. That created an opening in the ranks of sergeants, and tonight we fill that opening with Erik. So could not be happier to be welcoming all of you here and Erik's extended family, who have very, very deep roots in Pleasantville. So I invite Chief Grutzner to comment on the promotion.
They're keeping you busy, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor Shearer, village trustees, village administrator Dwyer, members, families, and friends of the Pleasantville Police Department and the Pleasantville community. Before we move forward with tonight's promotion, I'd like to take a few moments to update members of the community on some of the initiatives their police department has undertaken. A few weeks ago, Officer Dave Casal came to me and requested the department participate in a special initiative. April is Autism Awareness Month, and a number of police departments in Westchester are affixing decals to their patrol vehicles, both to raise awareness and to show support for the families who face unique challenges in raising a child with autism. With the support of the village board, I was thrilled to grant Dave's request. I've been lucky enough to have been invited into the homes of families of people who have children with autism and to have discussed with those parents their concerns, especially regarding a police response to an incident in their home. Their willingness to speak to me about these issues was truly humbling. Pleasantville boasts a robust special needs community with extremely active groups such as the Pleasantville VIP program and the Pleasantville Schools SEPTA program. So, beginning on Saturday, Pleasantville Police Department patrol vehicles will be adorned with this sticker. This token of solidarity and awareness on our vehicles is the least the police department can do to express our deep sense of respect and compassion for the struggles these families face. On a similar note, I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss Project Lifesaver. Project Lifesaver is a Westchester County-based initiative that brings the resources of Project Lifesaver International to our local residents. Project Lifesaver is a program to locate lost individuals who suffer from cognitive disabilities. Each individual in the program is fitted with a transmitter, which can be tracked and located in the event the individual becomes lost or wanders. We've seen the tragic results in other communities when a loved one who suffers from Alzheimer's, autism, or other cognitive disability wanders away from their caregivers. Although the parameters for participation in the program are narrow, I would encourage anyone who believes a family member could benefit from participation in Project Lifesaver to contact me at the police department. Tonight, I am excited for the opportunity to recommend Erik Birwa be promoted to the rank of sergeant within the Pleasantville Police Department. Erik is a 9-year veteran of law enforcement who began his career in Pleasantville in 2010. For the past 7 years, Erik has shown his commitment to the department and by extension to the village in a number of ways. In a small department like ours, we face the critical challenge of finding the right people to fill important roles. Erik began taking on responsibilities in the department early into his time here. In 2012, he became one of our motorcycle officers. And while Erik enjoys riding a police motorcycle in traffic or at the front of a parade takes a special type of courage. Interacting with the public as a motorcycle officer, whether at a fun community event like Pleasantville Day or a somber occasion like a funeral procession, also requires special interpersonal skills, which Erik regularly displays. Erik has also served as a department field training officer. Field training officers are responsible to take the newest officers of the department and to teach them how to apply their academy training or other experience to the actual operation of being a Pleasantville police officer. Supervising the transition of a new officer is a huge responsibility, and it is one we do not give out lightly. At times, this task can be a challenge. Other times, it is a pleasure. But no matter what, every police officer has a special relationship with his or her FTO. Only the most respected officers are tasked with such an important position, and Erik has ably trained many of the officers who are here tonight to show their support for his promotion. Erik holds himself to the highest professional standards. His work is exemplary, and whenever a job needs to get done, Erik is usually one of the first to volunteer. He handles difficult assignments ably, but is always eager to learn more. As a sergeant, Erik will face new challenges and critical tasks. I fully expect he will bring the same passion, determination, and ability to his new position. Thank you.
Erik, if we could invite you up for the swearing-in ceremony. If you would raise your hand and repeat after me. I, Erik Birwa,
I, Erik Birwa,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Code of the Village of Pleasantville,
the Code of the Village of Pleasantville,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Police Sergeant for the Village of Pleasantville
the duties of Police Sergeant for the Village of Pleasantville
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
My pleasure to introduce Sergeant Adjourned. I think we need your wife and son to take the pinning responsibility.
Trust the son more than the wife.
Oh, look at this guy.
There you are.
Look at this. Delicious.
He wants one.
Congratulations, sir.
You wanted a pen too?
You got something about it?
Congrats, I remember when I was 48. I know, it was just yesterday.
Now, in order to make this official, we'll jump a little bit out of order. Trustee Berard.
Thank you. Trustee Burrows having an issue with her agenda.
Technical challenge.
We'll just go to Resolution 42. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby appoints Erik Birwa to the position of Police Sergeant effective, I guess this is March 27th, 2017, at a salary of $123,000, sorry, total pay cut. $123,314.06. Said appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 months with a maximum of 52 weeks.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Welcome, Sergeant. So for the folks at home, we'll take a 5-minute break here for congratulations all the way around and pick up with the rest of our agenda very shortly.
Answer that one, but we'll come back.
Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. We just had a brief hiatus after swearing in Erik as our new sergeant in the Pleasantville Police Department. A happy occasion for a son of Pleasantville, born, bred, and now serving his village in the role of police sergeant. So a few announcements to make. Earlier tonight in work session, we met with the folks from the Garden Club who are interested in a campaign to identify a specific rose. Which rose was it? The double
Red knockout.
the double red knockout as the rose of the town, Village of Pleasantville, town of Mount Pleasant. Really nice project about which you will hear more soon. We also have a proposal from Thomas Watts, an Eagle Scout candidate for a proposed Little Free Library System, a series of small constructions around the village where books would be available for exchange. He'll come on a future occasion to describe that in more detail. A couple of other announcements to make. The farm market, which has been in its winter home in the Pleasantville Middle School, shout out to the Pleasantville School District for making that possible, has completed its indoor run, and this weekend, the first weekend in April, goes back outside. So Pleasantville Farm Market back outside in its usual position for the spring. For those who are history geeks, I can report that we have all missed Pleasantville's 120th birthday, which I just happened to notice on March 16th. Pleasantville was incorporated on March 16th, 1897, and so
You had the day off, Mayor.
last week celebrated its 120th birthday. I would have commented on that at the previous meeting, but it didn't come to my attention until after. So at any rate, just an interesting little bit of history for Pleasantville, that although the community was settled back in the late 17th century, it was incorporated as a village in what was a contentious and very narrow vote in 1897 to become its own village. So happy 120 Pleasantville. I also went this weekend to a League of Women Voters session in Greenberg on the subject of the New York State Constitutional Convention. John Nona, former mayor here in Pleasantville and former county legislator and distinguished lawyer on many subjects, was part of a panel of 3 discussing the pros and cons and the issues and the ramifications of a constitutional convention. Turns out that the Constitution requires that a referendum item be placed on the November ballot every 20 years for the voting folks in New York State to decide whether to convene a constitutional convention. And if such a thing is approved, at the following election, delegates to the convention are elected, and then they convene for 4, 5, 6 months with a staff in Albany and consider possible changes to the Constitution. So the short version of a long story is there hasn't been a constitutional convention since 1967. That cost something like $300 million in today's dollars to convene it, staff it, and come up with recommendations, and none of the recommendations were adopted. Since then, the vote to have a constitutional convention has never been approved. So it's an interesting circumstance, and one that I think anyone who is interested in the subject or in civics in general might take a look at. There's an Examiner article that went up today. Martin Wilbur from the Examiner was at this event, and there's quite a bit of information available on the New York State Bar Association website and on the League of Women Voters website. Short version of a long story is that there are many, many, many compelling reasons to have a constitutional convention, including some absolutely wacko aspects of the way the state works that most people would agree should be fixed. And yet the risk, depending on your viewpoint, is that if items in the Constitution were opened up for discussion, some of the benefits that currently inure to certain interest groups might possibly be struck from the Constitution. So for those reasons, you end up with a group of people who very much want to see such a thing, a group of people who very much don't want to see such a thing, and I guess that would be sort of a statement of our times in general. So interesting question, take a look at it, but one little piece of history that was new to me, and that is a little bit of the backdrop to this, is that Thomas Jefferson, way back when, had suggested that there should be a gathering, a constitutional convention every generation, so that the new generation could look at its constitution and consider changes that would keep it relevant. So that obviously didn't make its way into the United States Constitution. It did make its way into the New York State Constitution, and has worked well in some years and not so well in others. So rather than ramble on about that, I commend you to the Bar Association and the League of Women Voters website if it's a subject of interest. As mentioned, and worth keeping everybody's awareness up, but we have completed our master plan. We're now working on potential zoning changes that would permit 4-story buildings on the post office side of Memorial Plaza. That derives from many of the suggestions associated with the master plan, and I think was an area where most people felt that that height could be accommodated. But those of you who have an interest in that or any of the other zoning changes that might come out of this process, we're working again with BFJ Planning. We will have several public meetings and a required public hearing, but it's a good opportunity to remind you to sign up for village board agendas. You can go to pleasantville-ny.gov and get village board or any other agenda sent to you automatically by email. And if you have an interest in a specific subject, it's a good way to be aware of what we're talking about. We are coming down the home stretch with the New York State budget, which in theory is due by the end of the month, and some fortune tellers believe it will be accomplished. The Westchester Municipal Officials Association has delivered a month ago a fat list of legislative goals that are widely held by those of us in Westchester. We'll see how much of those goals make their way into the budget statement, and whether we can see some progress in the legislative session, which continues on through the spring. But there are certainly some issues of significant interest to us, and I can speak solely for myself, but I think a lot of us in Westchester agree. The governor proposed a scheme whereby state aid, although we get very little, would be dependent upon the county executive of each county convening a shared services and consolidation savings committee that would come up with a series of savings associated with the goings-on in every one of the 45 municipal governments that would be put up for referendum in November, and people would vote yay or nay, producing, among other things, the possibility that people in other communities could be voting on issues that have significant impact on a community they don't live in. So
That's on top of what we already submitted, showing those same savings and shared services and other items through 2017, by the way, when we submitted those. So it's kind of a, double-edged sword now, and we probably can't use the same savings.
no, we
that
certainly
already
can't.
submitted.
And don't misunderstand any of that opposition to savings. My God, we're
We do it.
making our way into the budget season. More on that in a moment. And go through the budget line by line, trying to save money wherever we can. We have lots of shared services and are open to many more. It's just hard to see how this top-down approach from Albany is going to serve anybody's purpose, especially in an environment where Albany has precious little interest in actually addressing the core issues that might truly improve our economic outlook. So,
And the last time we submitted it, the county coordinated a lot of those municipalities, so.
crazy thing. I mentioned the budget. Our draft budget was posted and is up on our website, Patty, yes?
Yes.
Last week, as is required by law. As I mentioned earlier, we have a public hearing on the budget on April 5 in this room at 8 p.m. Patty, you want to just give a quick
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy
update
to
on-
just a quick overview. We're pleased that we were able to deliver a budget, at least in tentative form, that complies with New York State's tax cap legislation. We will be a tax cap compliant proposed budget. We're coming in at a tax rate increase of about 0.5%. We are coming
in our draft budget, right?
We're anticipating fund balances to be stable or better than they were when we started the fiscal year. And we also anticipate a $1 increase in the refuse tax for the year. So we think collectively, the staff and I have really heeded, the call of the board to make sure that we ran things as efficiently as we could, but also in a manner that, was as economical as it could be, given all of the other constraints we work under. So we're delighted to propose the budget. Insignificant, if any, all tax increase is proposed. Substantial savings for reserves, up to $500,000 we're proposing to be set aside for reserve accounts. And we expect water rates to stay stable in the next year. And we expect some very good positions with respect to fund balance. So we'll get into detail at the public hearing, but I think it's all, trending positive, and we're very excited for that.
It certainly is, and it's a thanks to you, Patty, and to all the department heads, to Mary Schwartz and Noreen Regan, our finance department. I think it is fair to say with some pride that we're running a pretty tight ship. So all good news, and much more detail on that at our
Patty, will
budget
you
hearing.
make the Citizens Guide to local budgets available on?
I'll work on that today,
I see, yeah, it's.
and I'll have it posted. It's a good way to
It's
read
just
the
a
budget,
good, it is, it's a great way to read
and
the
I'll
budget.
post that up as well.
And also, Mary, I'm depending on you. Every year, for how many years have I read the equation that we have to follow to reach that tax cap
The
number?
tax cap
That's 2
calc.
pages wide long. I won't be here to do it, so it's gonna be up to you. If you just read that
I have it here
out.
for tonight, though. I do have it as a handout.
You do?
Mary's going to sign it for you.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe that's what
Framed
you could
copy.
do. I'll get a framed copy.
We're going to get a
Really like
needlepoint
that.
of
The
the formula.
equation alone is just, it's mind blowing.
Well, with
Okay.
respect to the cap, we were allowed a variance of about $172,000. We didn't have a lot of breathing room by any stretch of the imagination, so.
All right, so again, more on that. You can pick up more information about the budget, the draft budget, on the website now at pleasantville-ny.gov, and either visit or tune in on April 5 if you want to get the whole lowdown. One of the highlights of that presentation every year is Patty's animated GIF
Yes.
of a
Excited.
swimmer,
Of the
and,
swimmer.
and a bulldozer and the like. So, a couple of other things to report that have been going on. We also met earlier in work session with Mazer Engineering, traffic engineer, that we have engaged to take a look at some of the requests we've recently had for traffic calming in the areas of the schools. And that may produce a proposal for one or more speed table humps, similar to the one that we have on Romer Avenue, in areas around the access routes to the schools. I think that's a promising possibility. And we also took a look at whether such a thing might make sense in the area of the post office on Memorial Plaza. So more on that later. Happy to get anybody's comment if they have any. And then when we go into work session after the regular session, we'll be talking with Jeff Econom about the Public Works Capital Plan overview, which is obviously the department that has the most capital intensive needs. And that launches us into our long-term budget planning. So tonight, as I mentioned at the outset, is the last official meeting for trustee Mindy Berard, who joined this board 9 years ago. In her honor, we have visiting dignitaries from North Castle, Mike Schillero and his family, supervisor in the town of North Castle, for whom Mindy works in her day job. It's been a long and great run. And as I mentioned at organization night a week from today at 7 p.m., we'll have lots to say about Mindy's service, and we will invite Mindy to say lots about her own
Lots to
service.
say, definitely.
So hopefully it will be, it's likely to be a long night, is always. So
Officially already.
unrelated to official business, after that organization night, we're organizing a little gathering to celebrate Mindy. That is totally a social event unrelated to my official life. But if any of you haven't heard about it, please get in touch with me and we'll forward you the info. Ought to
guys.
be a good opportunity
That's very sweet.
to
Thank you.
remind Mindy of not only our fondness and her good service, but she presents a couple of amusing targets for an amusing evening, and we'll take
This
advantage.
is really good that I get to speak after I'm
Yeah.
not on the board anymore.
Yeah.
So, back at you.
All right. So with that in mind, following a sometime tradition that we are certainly going to enact this year, every one of tonight's resolutions are for Mindy.
Isn't that lovely? Could I stick a few of my
kinda
own in
easy,
here?
though.
I think
Yeah.
I should.
You have
It is
these
too bad.
tonight.
They're easy. Then it's a little
They are.
annoying.
They're very
Yeah.
The
easy.
budget swapping ones, are 4 page long.
So, So, Resolution 43, resolved that the pre-check register dated March 27th, 2017 is hereby approved as listed below for the fiscal year 2016 and 17, check numbers 85866 through 85989, from the General Fund, Water Fund, Refuge Fund, Trust and Agency Fund for a total of $340,417.16, and for the fiscal year 2017-18, getting started early here, huh? Check numbers 85990 through 85994, from the General Fund of $12,459.20.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments, questions about the check register?
We kick over into the new fiscal year because we're prepaying? I mean, it didn't look it, but
No, it doesn't.
On some are prepaid
Some.
expenses. I don't know if we had any in the school run.
But like there was a refund for parking.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
So,
That parking is
It's June
revenue
1.
for next year.
so
Got
those
it.
expenses
oh,
have
so
to be
it's
booked.
tying
right.
against the revenue for
Yeah.
next year, got it.
and then, yeah, there were some things for the festival.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Just curious.
understood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved.
You get to go again?
44, Berard.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to apply for an electric vehicle grant with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Patty, you want to describe what this is?
Yeah, very excited to just know that from a timing perspective, we have an opportunity to save up to $10,000 on vehicles that we could purchase through a program that the Department of Environmental Conservation is putting out on the municipal site for grants. We would be acquiring 2 Nissan Leaf electric vehicles. The models are S models or SV models, that's the other equivalent. The grant program is a reimbursement basis. Nissan is also providing a $10,000 discount per vehicle as part of its contribution to this municipal program. So coupled with a $5,000 DEC rebate, $10,000 Nissan rebate, and also a $1,700 clean energy rebate from NYSDEC, we'll be paying probably $17,000 per vehicle for cars that are listed at $34,000. So it's a great opportunity to jump in now. We have 2 Toyota Priuses that we've had for 10 years. They've served us very well for parking enforcement and for code enforcement, and we would be salvaging those vehicles, getting some residual value for those, and replacing them with these in the fleet. So I think it's a great opportunity. We have to purchase outright, though, in order to get the grant on a reimbursement basis. So I'm looking for that authorization tonight to purchase those vehicles.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Just that it's a sustainable Westchester, correct? That this comes through?
No,
What is it?
they are making us aware of it,
Well,
but it's a
okay.
DEC
Well,
program.
yeah, right,
Yes.
but
But
they
but
have brought it,
actually
they brought it
sent
to our
out-
attention.
They
Yes.
did,
Yeah.
yes. They did.
Are they current model year cars?
They're 2016,
They're 16s? Okay.
But brand new.
brand new.
Yeah. One interesting thing about the Leaf is that it's anticipated they're going to come out with a Leaf that has much longer range. And so I think that has been of interest to people who are thinking of buying one in the future. But
So that's probably they're pushing the
in our case, it's
inventory.
of no consequence.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't.
1.7
right.
square miles.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about
Long
that. So-
range.
So I think it's a
not
good
one
deal
of
for
these
us.
Where
Urban
the only
area,
ones
urban
left are
driving.
pink? I mean, they're.
You get up to 90 to 100
pink.
miles
No,
per
I know, but
charge,
sometimes these programs
which is,
are.
Yeah.
very sufficient for us.
Totally fine. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. What color are they? Do we know?
They're black.
They're black. So like that.
Not chartreuse or anything like
No.
that.
Yeah,
No,
sometimes these programs move cars.
No,
everywhere,
I know, I
right?
know.
you can have anything you want as long
This
as
would
it's
be
black.
fun, but
The
no,
polka
they'll
dot
be
car.
black.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Mindy, number 45.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village clerk to issue a filming permit to On Bells Production LLC, subject to receipt and approval of the necessary insurance documents and approval by the police chief.
Patty, you want to report on this?
Yeah, this is an HBO series called Divorce. They're going to be
Jessica Parker.
filming in Pleasantville and the surrounding neighborhoods. Sarah Jessica Parker is the star of the show. I don't watch it, I know nothing about it, but I hear it's really good. So I know the neighbors are very excited to have the opportunity to watch this unfold on their street. There's a house at the end of West Core that's under construction, and they're using that for their staging their scene. So These
So-
things usually take the better part of a day.
The
You know, they're involved.
affected neighbors are aware and have agreed.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
everyone's being.
And we're working out parking for
We're
staff
working
and
out
so
logistics
on,
for the
whatever.
trucks and all of the other things they need. Usually they're, you know, it's nice for the village. They'll, you know, have a nice, you know, an opportunity to buy some lunches in town and to do a little work around the village while they're here, so.
So only one day, they're not prepping the night before?
I'm not sure of how they're setting up. The chief will know that. But we'll be able to
Yeah,
coordinate.
tell them they
It's
have to buy
easier on
lunch
a
from,
dead-end
for
street.
everybody from local food establishments.
We always tell them where to
Yeah,
shop.
that's right.
Sarah Jessica Parker has to go herself to the deli.
There you go.
I don't think she really eats.
So,
It's like the,
whatever she's doing,
That's good for
it
Pleasantville.
seems to
It's
work.
good for Pleasantville.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. And just for a change of pace, trustee Berard, number 46.
resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the minutes of the meeting held on Monday, March 6th at 2017.
Comments or corrections to the minutes?
Yeah, they should have been March 13th.
Not March 6th?
March 6th.
It's
Yep.
Monday, March
Okay.
13, right?
And we need a second.
Yeah,
I seconded it, by
Right.
the way.
You second it as
as
revised.
revised as March 13th.
Monday, March 13th. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. That's the last of our resolutions tonight. We'll be heading back into work session to discuss a bunch of different things, including an update on some improvements we're making to the pool. More on that soon, but a shout out on that as we come into the period of time when people will be deciding to enroll in the pool. We are making some modifications in the concession area, opening it up a bit, creating a new counter, taking down one of the fences, extending another, so I think it'll be a much more graceful scene around the concession.
Do you know the town of North Castle has a sign up that the pool is open and ready for registration on the corner of like 128 and 22, I believe?
Jeff, can you go get that sign and put it in Pleasantville?
Right.
It says register now online. Town of North Castle pool is open
They
on
used
May
to have a- They used to have a
27th.
sign up somewhere over
Very
there.
good advertising.
Well, I don't mind saying that we've also decided this year to make a limited number of non-resident passes available, so what would it cost to add our website? All right. If there is any further business, any comments from the public, any call-ins?
I will have a lot more to say next week, I guarantee you, but it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve the village. And I think often, since Kathy Andrasak's memorial service, her son Will stood up there and gave the most incredible eulogy. But one of the things he said about his mom was what a great, how she gave so much to the community and how we should all just pay it forward.
Yep.
And I will use Will's words and say the same thing. Just keep paying it forward in the village of Pleasantville, and if we all keep doing that, we're maintaining the great place that we are. So thank you, Will Andrasak, for those thoughts. It was a great honor to your mom.
Wonderful tribute.
It certainly was. So, again, more on that subject and more on Mindy's service at our organization meeting
I'm getting a little nervous.
next Monday at 7 p.m. Mindy may not be
You may-
here, I don't know, but we're going to do it
We're gonna
anyway.
have a party.
Mike, you may have to come back.
It's a compelling group. We're quite compelling. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
good night.
Motion approved. Good night. Thank you all.